Hey there everybody, Fasha here. Welcome to another Kava Journal. Now I do apologize, I actually skipped yesterday's Kava Journal mainly because I was in distress. My computer, sadly, for the past 4 days has been having some issues because of a registry error. And though thankfully I was able to alleviate the situation, it was a stressful past 4 days, and because of that, I was not able to make a Kava Journal. But I also want to shout out to two of my friends that helped me, Bearbrush and the DigiDestin, who are two people that I really am thankful for that are part of my life, because without their tech knowledge, I probably would not have gotten to the stage that I am now, where my computer is fully fixed. So thank you, Bearbrush and DigiDestin, for your help. Now, let's move on with the Kava Journal, shall we? For those of you that are just joining us now, I've been doing this Kava Journal for about 8 days. This is the 9th day. And in those 8 days, I have definitely come to an understanding of the effects of kava and why there are some reasons that it might not affect certain people. One of the main reasons is the fact that kava lactones are something that may affect you depending on, of course, your overall BMI, as well as your state of mind, multitudes of other factors, of course. But one of the main factors that I seem to have, at the very least, personally experienced is the fact that the first time you drink kava, you might not feel anything at all. Other than the numb tongue that comes with drinking it, because that's instant. But more than likely, that has something to do with the fact that kava biologically has a relation to the pepper plant. But I will say that over the past 8 days of attempting to use kava as a regular regimen in my daily life, the effects of kava have definitely compounded for me, reaching a euphoric height after taking 3 doses regularly for 7 days straight. So one of my main reasons for doing this Kava Journal is to experiment on myself. The first part of my experiment was to reach a point in which I believed I have reached the height of the effects of kava that I want to feel. Because as I've stated in previous videos, kava can have an adverse effect if, of course, you imbibe in too much. Much like anything in life. And the effects of overusage of kava can range from anything but is not limited to headaches, nausea, upset stomach, as well as vomiting. Headache, nausea, upset stomach, diarrhea. Just kidding. But kava also has been known to have effects that are similar but not as intense as alcohol. So please remember to drink responsibly. Also, I probably should have stated this earlier, but once again, as I've stated in many of my videos, and I think in almost every single video, hopefully I tried to mention this, but I am not a medical professional, nor am I a dietitian in any way, shape, or form. I am simply someone who is experimenting with the usage of kava and sharing my experience. So please take the experience part at an anecdotal level. Take what I say with a grain of salt, please. And of course, we also have to remember that kava in itself is a cultural drink. It is known and has cultural significance throughout the South Pacific Islands, having 3,000 years of history within cultures that include, but are not limited to, the Philippines, Hawaiian culture, Micronesian culture, as well as Fijian culture, and has been used as a social lubricant, as a democratic gift, and of course, as a way for the people to connect with one another, their ancestors, their past, their culture, and their gods, their mythology. Now then, of course, we have 3 batches of kava, and thankfully I did get the juice to be able to cut it so it actually is a lot more palatable to drink. But we're going to do something a little bit different this time, because the past 8 times, or 8 journals, we've been drinking 3 batches straight. What we're going to be doing this time to experiment with the longevity of the effects of kava, which generally last anywhere between peaking at 45 minutes to 60 minutes and then starting to taper off there. That is when I take all batches at once. So what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can elongate the effect by drinking half of these 3 batches combined, and then 30 minutes later, drinking the other half. I will definitely say these 75 micron nut bags are an absolute game changer in making kava and the effectiveness of the overall end product. Alrighty then, everybody. We've got our kava here, and we cut it with some orange pineapple guava just to make it a little bit more palatable. And of course, we have our second batch waiting to be consumed 30 minutes later. We're gonna do a 15-minute check-in. We're gonna drink that in 30 minutes. We're gonna do a 45-minute check-in, and then we'll do an hour and a half check-in afterwards to see whether or not the effects have elongated with that space in between drinking, or if there is a max cap of time in which your body just is affected by kava, and then after that you need to not. All right, bula. Alrighty then, so we'll do that 15-minute check-in, and then in 30 minutes we'll drink some more, and then we'll do a 45-minute check-in, then an hour and a half check-in. Alrighty then, so 15-minute check-in, and I can honestly say that it is, once again, as previously and compounded from what I said previously, it is rolling in much quicker than previously. And it's not an intense roll, it's actually a nice slow roll, because it's, once again, it is a replacement. It is a alcohol substitute, but it is not as intensive as alcohol in any way, shape, or form, in a lot of ways. But the euphoric feeling, just the feeling of feeling light, and just being able to just chuckle at whatever, it's there, and it's enjoyable. But we'll check in at 30 minutes when we drink our next batch, and then we'll check in at 45 minutes, then the 1 hour and 30-minute mark, just to see if this longevity experiment actually worked. All right, 30-minute mark, time to take the next batch. Bula. Alrighty then, so we will check in at 45 minutes just to see, and then 1 hour and 30 minutes. Appreciate those of you that are part of this journey. So, 45-minute check-in. And I don't know if it's done peaking, but I am feeling good. I'm feeling more relaxed, you know. The worries of today have gone away, and it is an enjoyable feeling. But unlike alcohol, I don't feel fogged. I don't feel reckless. I don't feel overwhelming sensations that may or may not overstimulate. It's just, it's a nice ride, and it's a good wave. But yeah, we'll check in at the 1 hour and a half mark to see if we're still feeling this, if it's more intense, if it's tapered off. We'll see. This is the point of this particular Kava Journal. It's a longevity experiment. Alrighty then, so hour and a half update. It's definitely lasted a little bit longer, but at the hour 10 mark, it definitely started to taper off. And yeah, it's starting to come down here at the hour and a half mark, a lot more, more so than it was before. But very interesting experiment. It did increase the time a little bit. Maybe it was because I only did 30 minutes in between taking the first batch and the second batch, or well, taking half of 3 batches and then the other half, one half, either way. That's how it went, and I'm gonna think about what we're gonna do for the next Kava Journal to see if we can mix things up. But appreciate y'all for being here. I hope that you found some interest in what I said and learned something. Thank you all so much for joining me for this Kava journey.